podcast back with you. Kingdom Casts brought to you by USA Econo Lodge in Irondale. Rhett from Hueytown says, Econo Lodge has the best selection of streetwalkers this side of First Avenue North.
Really?
Brittany H. says, the man that runs this motel should be dealt with legally. T. Bisbee, too, says staff is very unprofessional. And Shannon F. writes, this place is disgusting, and includes pictures of bed bugs. So, when you get your chance, drop by and visit Econo Lodge in Irondale. The Econo Lodge that the Birmingham City Council is absolutely refusing to renew their business license. Tell them Kingdom Casts sent you.
Dan, what are you doing?
How clean are the women?
So wrong.
And I ain't going to take nothing home, am I?
Yes.
You should see some of the pictures of these beds in there. Joining us once again is Sandra. There's more to Trudeau than just a pretty face swindle. I'm Stan Daniel, and with me, as always, is Albert Marsh. So, Albert.
Yeah.
You'd have to ask Rhett about the quality of the people there.
Okay.
This is one of these places, the USA Economy Lodge in Irondale. I saw news stories on it, and once you get to reading it and get to digging on it and go down the rabbit hole, you're like, why are they still letting this building stand? Why is this building still functioning? So I just thought that'd be entertaining. Well, it looks like there is a mass exodus from the big two, left and right, thanks to, and am I getting the name right, Sandra, SubStack?
Yes, SubStack.
Yeah, which advertises start a paid newsletter, but it's more than that. People are writing books, blogs on it, recipes, and of course, comic books. So far, this exodus has, DC's losing James Tynion IV from the regular Batman title. That was the most recent that came down right before we heard that Hickman is definitely leaving Marvel. There had been rumors for...
No, he's not leaving Marvel.
No, he's got one more book. He's off X-Men.
Oh, yeah.
He's off the X-Men. Gonna stop being the head of X.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't stick up for himself, so they let all the other goober writers and editors take his whole line away from him.
God.
Now,
but that's what happened. That's what happened.
Now, wait a minute. After Inferno, I thought that was it for him.
It was in EW. He will be departing the X-Men line after Inferno wraps.
Okay, but he's not leaving Marvel as a whole.
They say he's got a book.
What he said exactly is, I will be leaving to go work on my quote-unquote next big Marvel thing, trademark, and starting in January, the X line will rocket forward with a weekly series that leads into the cool, refocused line of books.
Oh, crap. You see, I don't like that news. I very much enjoyed it. Thought his being in charge of the X books was a new renaissance for the X-Men. And now it's just going to be piecemealed off. And we're going to get incoherent, inconsistent stuff. Or I fear we're going to get incoherent.
So we're supposed to be way past where we're at in the books. Based on his, like all this Krakoa stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently that was Act 1. We're supposed to be past all that.
Right.
But he said all the writers and editors wanted to keep doing it, and so he just said, whatever.
Wow. I enjoyed the gala, and I didn't expect to enjoy the gala, but there were a lot of character moments there, and then they wowed us with the Mars becoming a Kara situation, and Storm, and the interaction between Storm and Doom. But now I would just like for Doom to step in and destroy it all.
Well, the last real Hickman thing in all the X-Men stuff was probably the Nimrod issue with Mystique. That was the last time it felt like that was actually part of his main plan.
I think you could very well be right, where she goes to kill Nimrod and fails.
Yeah.
That breaks my heart. I was thoroughly enjoying this. So you think he did have an exit, but we're not going to get to it.
No, we're not even past his Act 1.
Right, yeah.
Well, at least Act 1 post Powers and House of X or 10 or whatever.
I think Inferno will be the opening into Act 2. Yeah. If you read the EW article and the Entertainment Weekly article, you could read everything that he's talking about, his plans for the X-Men and how they got
sidetracked, waylaid.
Extended.
Waylaid would be okay. Yeah. I would think waylaid would be a better way of putting it if all the other writers came in and took over.
I think he should step up for himself.
That's not the waylaid. Basically, he was getting ready to start his second act, and he asked everybody, were they ready? And their stories were going to point to, and they said, no, we want to play more in this first act area. That's why we got Cross Swords and the Hellfire Gala, and not Cross Swords, X of Sword, and all of the stuff that we've gotten. Maybe I'm misreading it. What I got from the article was Inferno was probably supposed to be, and the confrontation with Mystique was probably supposed to be moved much closer, maybe a year, closer to when House of X and Powers of X came out. What he says in the article from EW, if I remember correctly, is that it's not entirely his co-writers or the other X-writers, because we had something called COVID interrupt everything. That's part of the reason why everything got extended, and I think they were having a better time working in the time period that they were. When everything started shutting down, he wrote a big synopsis outline of how it could be done, I guess, digitally. His plan for the X-Men could be done digitally.
I'm just seeing this breaking down. We've seen, not with Hickman necessarily, but we've seen situations like this with other creators. And once the head loses enthusiasm or loses power or control over direction, then it just starts getting piecemealed away bit by bit by bit. Yeah. I just do not like that. And on top of everything else, the X books from the last 2 weeks, to me, were of no better quality than the Age of X-Man stuff right before Hickman took over. Even Marauders. It just seemed to fall flat for some reason. I just hate that. I hate that. But part and parcel of it is the situation going on where they're all going over to Substack. Have you looked at Sandra? You're subscribing to stuff on Substack.
Well, there are free Substack. Yes,
Substack. Thank you.
Yes, there are free newsletters. I've subscribed to Substack. Kieran Gillian has had a free newsletter for years that he was using Substack as a platform to disperse it, I guess. I had subscribed to that years and years ago. And then Chip Zdarsky had free newsletter that he was using Substack to disperse. So I had both of those. The new model where all these superstars that Nick Spencer has curated, for lack of a better word, is a paid subscription. There might be a tier where you can have like a free subscription, but most of the big names that went over there have a paid subscription thing. Most of them are like between $7 to $8 a month, or you can get 2 months off or something like that. So it's $70 or $80 a year. And most of them are doing various, maybe some comics or stuff like that. But the one I subscribed to was Scott Snyder, because Scott Snyder isn't doing a comic. He's doing how to write comics class over a year. Every month he's going to have class. There'll be assignments, and he'll talk about how he wrote things and how you can write things. And he breaks down how to write comics in various aspects and things. And there's a couple question and answer sessions too on top of that. For me, $7 for a couple hours of listening to Scott Snyder trying to teach you how to write comics, that was well worth it.
I don't know about that.
Well, you can say whatever you want about him. I mean, I haven't read a whole lot of his stuff, but the man is a successful comics writer, and he is approaching it as a craft, i.e., it's not going to be some esoteric kind of thing about how he writes comics. Okay, this is how you build a character. This is how you do a plot, how you break it down into panels for your artist, how you collaborate.
Scott Snyder's is called Our Best Jacket. It shows that he's got thousands, plural, of subscribers a month at $7 a month. That seems to be where a lot of these talents are turning their efforts to, and I really can't blame them. There's a major difference between this and the way Image Comics works, is this is all online. There's no overhead for the physical.
Yeah.
They basically got offered a deal they couldn't refuse, real money and creator rights and everything else. Rumor has it, I don't know, of course, because I'm not privy to the insides of it, but that most of these guys are getting six figures for the first year.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Whatever they create, like, you know, they're doing it online or whatever.
How does that work? Are they guaranteed that much money?
Yeah, they call them grants. They're just giving them the six figures. Well, if they create something and, you know, it's dispersed through the Substack newsletter thing, when they're finished, they can have it in print anywhere and have all the rights to it. And here's the negative to me. I know I keep harping on this. Most of these indie books are done, creator-owned books. They go through the floppies and sell them at the comic book stores. That allows them to pay themselves and all the artists and everybody that's making the book month by month, so that they can have a finished product, they really probably start making money off the trades. And they can just make money, quote unquote, endlessly off the trades. But if you don't have the floppies to create each, quote unquote, chapter of the book, then you don't have the money. Most of these guys cannot afford to front the money. People say, well, why don't they just put out an original graphic novel? Well, who has the money to sit for 6 months and write and draw an original graphic novel? So, I mean, they got to get paid somehow. And that's what the floppies do. This Substack experiment
bypasses that entirely.
Right. They're giving them the money to sit for not a year and create.
It's not even necessary. I understand what you're saying, that they're upfronting the money to a lot of these creators.
Mm-hmm.
But it says Scott Snyder's group has thousands, plural. So let's assume that means he's got 2,001 subscribers, right? $7 a month. That brings in $11,594 a month. So let's say that Scott creates a comic book under Substack with a...
No. You're off by a major portion. Yeah, because I tried to figure this out. I'm
using Substack's numbers.
What is Substack's cut of that?
Yeah, see, that is where Substack is thinking they're going to make the money off of.
If he's charging $7, they get 2 and he get 5. How's that work?
Let me share this with you. I just said I'm using Substack. I'm using Substack as we talk right now. 2,000 subscribers at $7 a month should be $14,000 a month. However, it's telling you that you will make $11,594 a month.
Gotcha.
So there's the Substack take. Theoretically, and Sandra, let me get done with this and then tell me where I'm mistaken on it. Theoretically, Scott, an artist, could create a comic book, put it out on Substack, finish the entire story, and go to Image Comics and have them print it in a trade paperback.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
This is a win-win situation for creators.
Except for the comic book stores.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, obviously, except for the comic books, but for the creators, this is Mephisto showing up to save Aunt May. You're not turning this one down.
Right.
You liked how I worked that in there?
Yeah, I do.
So they keep $1.20, right, off each sub?
Yeah, about that.
Sounds like.
Yeah. Sounds like, yeah.
I think they got to have they have some other kind of deal with them, but no, it's not. What did you say? 1,400.
I'm saying 2,000 subscribers, according to Substack.
Right.
If you have 2,000 subscribers at $7 a month,
right,
you will pull down $11,594. But if 2,000 people are paying $7 a month, that's $14,000. So the difference is the $2,500 or whatever it is going back to Substack.
But that's on top of the grant that they got that's 6 figures.
Yeah. Now, whatever Substack is paying high-end names to come into it with, that's something completely different.
Also, we don't know how they do subs. Technically, there could be a thing where part of their deal is for X amount of time, we'll guarantee Y amount of subs. If they promise you 2,000 subs and you only get 1,500, they would come in and pay for the other 500 a month subs. I would imagine something like that may be in the deal, wouldn't it?
Well, it could be, except what I'm looking at is it's showing top paid under comics. The top paid is 3W3M, which is 3 Worlds, 3 Moons, created by Mike Del Mundo, Jonathan Hickman, and Mike Huddleston. $8 a month, thousands of subscribers. So that means that they've got thousands of subscribers. The Empire of the Tiny Onion, that's Tinyon 4's Substack, thousands of subscribers at $7 a month. Then the Scott Snyder Best Jacket thing. And then KLC Press, Donnie Cates, Ryan Stegman, and crew has hundreds of subscribers at $8 a month. And Chip Zdarsky, who has named his newsletter, it's Chip Zdarsky's newsletter, okay? Also has hundreds of subscribers at $7 a month. So if they're saying thousands plural, that means that they have to have at least 2,000 for them to use that in the advertisement on the front page. I don't think they're overstating that or fluffing the numbers.
I know for a fact that there's thousands there's probably at least 2,000 in the Snyder one. And I wouldn't be surprised how many are in Hickman's, because like I said, I tried to join that. There was some snafu with the payment thing, and I've been going around and around with them because
well, you just don't have good luck with online things, do you?
Well, I got in on the comic book, Snyder's comic book course, so I'm happy with that. But Hickman is not teaching a comic book course, but they're going to be building that universe in front of everybody. It's kind of like a comic book course, and that you're going to see it's not just Hickman, because he has those two artists, Mike Del Mundo. I can't believe Marvel didn't have him as an exclusive, because he's just an awesome artist. He's also bringing in, now I don't know, I guess he's paying them or something, because they're not part of the
it says that Three Worlds, Three Moons is created by Mike Del Mundo,
it's
Jonathan Hickman, and Mike Huddleston. So they're paying the others that come in.
Allegedly, Teenie Howard and Al Ewing and one other person from the X stuff are each doing things on that subscription, world building things. They are contributing to that subscription.
There's no way as a creator you could turn this down.
No.
This is akin to the Image exodus from Marvel, except in a lot of ways it's worse, because this time it's not just Marvel, it's Marvel and DC, and to a lesser degree, Image, I would suspect. So you can't find a flaw with the theory that I proffered about them creating a comic book, finishing a story, and then going to Image to have that put into physical trade paperback.
No, that's the part of the deal, is that they
would that be an issue?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
All of the creative rights. They don't have to go to Image. They could go to they could go to Dark Horse. They could go to
I know.
Boom.
I'm just
They could take it. Yeah. I mean, they could take it to whatever they create on Substack. They own 100%, and whatever they want to do with it after this year is over, they can do whatever they want with it, because Substack is not work for hire. There's no, well, it's on our platform, therefore we own a piece of it. None of that. It's 100% belongs to the creators.
There's no way you could, if you're Tinian, if you're any of them, and they come to you, there's no way you turn this down.
Right. And Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman, you said they had hundreds, but they were the last ones announced. I mean, they're like a week or two behind. Hickman, Spencer. Yeah. Well, Spencer, of course, was the first one. I don't even know what he's doing, but
KLC Press is Donny Cates and Stegman.
Right. So I imagine they're going to have thousands relatively soon. Now, some of these people like Tinian are going to be creating comics on their subscription. I think Tinian and Zdarsky are offering special variant covers. So these guys are going to be seeing print somewhere. They're not exclusive either. The only reason why Tinian left Batman was because DC wanted him to be exclusive, i.e., I guess DC didn't want him to be on Substack.
Well, if you look at their exclusive deal with Bendis and how that went, I mean, he's still on Justice League, but it was not the promised situation on either end.
Well, that's because everything changed.
And I think a lot of that may be on Bendis. Like Bendis just...
I'm saying.
I think they offered him way too much, and that was...
I'm saying on either end. Yeah, I'm not one side or the other on that. But,
but Hickman, see, he's free to do Marvel comics.
Stegman has some artwork up on his thing, and then they had a Substack part. Yeah, there's no way you don't do this.
The thing that Marvel is going to lose, or Marvel and DC, the writers can still do both if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
But the artists are the ones that the big two are going to lose. You might see a cover or something from them, but they can't possibly do two comics.
Oh, they can barely do one comic a month.
Right. An artist can only do one comic a month. So it's Stegman and...
Unless you're Bagley, and then you can do 10.
Yeah.
So the artists that these writers are taking with them are the ones that were the big two are going to lose.
I wonder if they made Alex Ross an offer.
I don't know.
Alex Ross doesn't really do.
He has a YouTube channel where he puts out videos, but all his videos are like super short for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I would pay money to watch
subscribe
him
to Alex Ross.
If he did 30-minute to hour-long videos where he's just painting stuff and doing that, I would pay money for that.
Instead of Bob Ross, it'd be Alex Ross, and he'd talk to you.
But the issue with getting artists to do that, an artist can just go set up on somewhere like Twitch, and you have a much more popular known platform that's already got built-in subscription-based stuff, donation buttons, and everything. Some artists do that.
I don't think the popularity in Substack is going anywhere but up.
Well, I never heard of it before this.
We've talked about it for weeks off air. so-and-so is going to Substack, so-and-so is going to Substack. And now there's a mass exodus. And Sandra, wasn't it you that said that the Amazing Spider-Man is
going to tank?
Yeah, when Spencer leaves.
Yeah.
Isn't he? Yeah, the rumor is he's leaving for Substack.
No, he is the one that started this. Substack went to Nick Spencer and said, we want to do comics on Substack and we want you to curate it, i.e. recruit people that are going to be popular enough to make this work. So Nick Spencer is, I don't want to say editor-in-chief, but he's the guy that started it and got all these people, I guess, to...
He's an instigator on behalf of Substack.
Right. Okay. Now, I don't know if what he's going to do, if he's going to do something creative. I imagine he is. But the reason why I said Amazing Spider-Man is going to tank is because it's not going to tank. I mean, it's a best-selling book for Marvel. But creatively, just like you're saying about the X-line going downhill, I looked at the November solicitations. They're doing a weekly Spider-Man, but every week is going to be written by a different person. And the artists, and it just sounds like.
Well, we're going to talk more about Amazing Spider-Man. A couple of our listeners wanted to hear a little bit more about Amazing Spider-Man, so we're going to talk about that a little in the comic book review section. But I don't think Spencer is going to abandon the current storyline in Amazing Spider-Man the way that I feel that Hickman has kind of given up on the X books.
When you have something like for Marvel, it would be X-Men line, and for DC, it would be the Batman line. And DC, for the most part, does this in their Batman line, even though they don't necessarily have the guy, the top writer to do it that I would like. Is for the most part, if you write Batman, even though you're the writer, you run that whole line for the most part.
Yeah, it used to be
that
the
whole
editor,
line.
Not anymore.
Yeah, the whole line revolves around you, and you work with your editors, and they just sort of make sure, when need be, if there's a big story going on, that the other books line up for it. That's what X-Men should be for Marvel. Let's say you have Hickman on X-Men. Here's Hickman's timeline. Here's what he wants to do. That's what we do. And when it's time for Hickman to do something, all the other editors work with the writers and whatnot, and they're all in communication and they revolve around it. They didn't do that. So they let Hickman sort of let everyone else do what they wanted to. So now we've lost the X-Men line.
It's still too early to call. He's going to write Inferno. I'm just disheartened by it because almost immediately after the ending of the Hellfire Gala, there seemed to be a shift in the quality of X books. New Mutants, which I loved, has become bland and redundant and not featuring any of the characters that you want focused on in New Mutants. Marauders was great all the way through the gala, and now the first issue after the gala, it's kind of, you're not getting anything. In the Trial of Magneto, #1, hell, it's almost like Magneto is completely out of established character for this situation.
I didn't care for that.
Again, we'll get to that in a minute. But at the end of it, I'd like to say that just like the Image exodus from Marvel made way for new talents, I'd like to say this is going to do the same thing, but why the hell wouldn't the new talents just simply bypass Marvel and DC and go right to Substack?
Because they don't have a pool.
But they
can't go off and do stuff like Substack and not be someone established. You're not going to make anything, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a Kickstarter. To get a good Kickstarter, you have to have a rep, and brand new talent doesn't have a rep. They're not going to give 6 figures to somebody that hasn't done anything.
I'm not saying that Substack turns around and hands them 6 figures to sign a board. I'm saying if they've got an idea or a concept like a Spider-Man story, why don't they create their own Spider-Man-esque character and go over and offer it there first, and retaining all the rights? There's opportunities for people who would like to break into Marvel Comics coming up real freaking quick. Same thing, I assume, for DC Comics. But I have also noticed there's a downshift overall in the quality of artwork going on.
Well, that's been the case at Marvel for a while.
Yeah, and the big too.
Nothing new. So
look, this is interesting as all get out. There's a couple that I'm going to want to subscribe to on Substack. And Sandra, since you're the only one currently subscribed, you'll keep us up to date on your and Scott Snyder's passionate love affair online, right?
Yeah, me and 2,000 other people.
Look, what goes on between you and Scott Snyder is nobody's business but you, Scott Snyder, and his 1,999 other subs.
I'm definitely going to try to sign up for Hickman's Substack too. And like I said, I get free you can sign up for free Substack. I recommend.
Oh, there's free stuff all the way through this. I've been glancing at it and I'm thinking to myself, damn, when we started the podcast, Albert and I was concerned about this and that. And then AT&T started screwing around with DC. And I was really getting ticked off about that. And then Discovery steps in and we're going to take over the Warner properties. So I was happy about that. But then this could be actual Armageddon for comic books. And it's in a format that nobody saw coming.
At some point, I mean, it depends. You're always going to have writers that want to write the characters they like.
Yes.
You're always going to have someone that's like, you want to write Spider-Man? Yeah, I'll write Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man.
Yeah, I want my Spider-Man. Yeah.
Same way with X-Men and Avengers and Batman and Superman, not the Fantastic Four.
And, that line to write the Submariner, that just goes around the block.
I'll have you know, I have a list of people that have expressed interest in writing the Submariner.
I've got a list of people that have expressed interest in writing Lockheed. A solo series.
I haven't seen anybody say online.
Which list is longer, the writers to write Namor or the number of vaccinated people in Alabama?
Don't mention Alabama. We get dirty notes when you mention Alabama.
Well, I mean, I live here. I in a double wide trailer.
Couple of things have dropped, but I think the most important thing is Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. Did you both see it?
Yeah.
Sandra?
Yeah, I watched it.
They need to work on Doc Ock some more because he looks like a half Jewish, half Korean grandmother in that trailer.
Well, they had to get it out real quick because the unfinished one leaked. Somebody had it on their iPhone and recorded it with another iPhone.
That seemed like a real leak.
Yeah.
The pictures of Andrew and Toby or whoever his stunt double is, possibly, that seemed like a fake leak that they just sort of put out there since they're not in the trailer.
Those pictures, and look, I looked at them real close. This is some next level stuff if those pictures are faked, because you can't match other previous pictures out there of Andrew Garfield in that pose.
No, those. I would imagine though the two pictures. I think there's two pictures at least. I'd imagine those are real pictures.
Okay, well, based off the trailer, let's get your thoughts. We'll start with Sandra, who likes Spider-Man the least of us.
Yeah. I was there for Doctor Strange. Let's put it that way.
Of course, he screws up like always.
Well, now wait a minute. What's up with Doctor Strange? Is that actually Doctor Strange?
I don't know. I was not very happy with that Doctor Strange. It's like, why is he even doing this for Peter Parker? I don't understand it.
Because Peter Parker helped save the universe and also was gone for 5 years. So it's probably just cutting the kids some slack.
Yeah, Strange also probably feels like he owes Stark something. And Stark loved Peter. And so here we go.
This is nonsense. You're responsible for the entire multiverse. And you don't have to do favors for some whiny emo kid.
No, you don't, but you can if you want to.
He's not really a whiny emo kid in this.
That's what I'm saying. He is a whiny kid in this, and he is somewhat emo. But anyway, that's what I'm saying here. It didn't seem like Doctor Strange. Wong is sitting there going,
"Don't do it."
Yeah, you can't do that spell. He's got to go do something, but you know better than to do that spell. And he goes, of course, I'm not going to do that spell. And then he's giving a broad wink to Peter Parker, like, yeah, let's just get him out of the way. And it's just nonsense. I don't know what's going on.
First off, something's gone wrong in the Sanctum Sanctorum because it looks like Hoth.
Both Wong and Doctor Strange are wearing those parkas with their cloaks over them.
Well, I did like that. I did think that was fun. Now, that part I can actually see. But him doing it and going through with it, the train scene where there's multiple trains surrounding one train that goes off the tracks and Doctor Strange looks to be controlling it, I honest to God think that is him explaining to Peter about the multiple realities and what they're in danger of. I don't know what the deal is with the broad wink, nudge, and seeming to be somewhat not completely in control of every spell he's casting.
It doesn't help that Peter is ruining the spell.
Well, Peter doesn't. Wouldn't Dr. Strange tell him before you go into the circle, keep your mouth shut now? Is there any last minute thing? You see that sort of thing.
Well, as far as we know, he did, because he told him, stop whatever you're doing. Anyway, I think Bleeding Cool had the Spider-Man that's inspired that scene. It's not One More Day. It's
wasn't it Marvel? Wait a minute. No, they reprinted it. It was an annual, wasn't it?
No, let me see here. It is.
Did it have like a predominantly yellow cover with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange on it?
No.
Okay.
It's One Moment More. Is that it?
Oh, that was after One More Day.
Yeah, it's after One More Day. It's
One Moment in Time or something?
One Moment in Time, yeah. The panels are a lot like what's in there, but it's Spider-Man coming to Doctor Strange and wanting to change something or the other. Strange agrees, and somehow or the other he drags some of the Illuminati in to help him out with it, and then he's in the middle of the spell, and Parker waffles and messes up the spell, so I don't know what happens. But anyway, Mary Jane is supposed to have remembered he's Spider-Man, but it's, one more, what did I say?
One moment more.
One moment in time.
One moment in time. It's not uncommon for Spider-Man to go to Doctor Strange. Happens far more frequently than Spider-Man going to Avengers headquarters to get help. Spider-Man, as a matter of fact, I think Spider-Man dealing with Doctor Strange occurs almost as much as Spider-Man dealing with the Fantastic Four over the entire run of The Amazing Spider-Man. I like the feel that we get from Doctor Strange and Spider-Man being together in this, but Doctor Strange does seem a bit wonky, and it does seem to be taking a few cues from One More Day.
Anything involving him getting his identity back is going to have shades of One More Day in it.
Yeah.
The trailer itself, I liked. I'm really looking forward to this movie.
I am too. I've got two problems with this, especially given the Mysterio situation, the situation with Nick Fury in Far From Home, where Nick Fury turns out to be a Skrull subbing for Nick Fury. If this Doctor Strange does not turn out to be the Doctor Strange, and I'm not even going to say the M word.
No, it's Doctor Strange. Wong would have realized it wasn't him.
Okay, good point. So I feel better about that. But also, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, though. We can't really speak to this yet, but what if? What if the Doctor Strange episode of What If that's coming up on Disney Plus deals with a evil Doctor Strange or an opposite version of Doctor Strange who looks exactly like Doctor Strange, and they said that this will have ramifications on the rest of the Marvel Universe. Is it at all possible that this Doctor Strange is somehow affected by that What If episode?
I doubt it.
And you're going to see Captain Carter show up somewhere down the line.
I hope so. I love that.
I did too.
See, I was hoping, this isn't really spoilers, but I was hoping at the end of this week's episode of What If that was going to be her, but it wasn't.
Well, I haven't seen this week, and neither has Sandra.
It's bad. It's terrible.
But you liked the first two, right?
Oh, the first two are great. I love the first two.
I have a little bit of problem with Thanos changing his tune so easily.
Yeah, I agree with that, but it ain't no big.
Yeah, I accepted it.
You're talking about the first one? Thanos wasn't in the first one.
Thanos was in the second one.
Oh, that was terrible. I hated that.
You didn't like it?
No, it was crap.
At what point are you just going to come out and say, I don't like Black Panther?
I like Priest's Black Panther for the most part. I'm going to say that the best part was listening to Chadwick Boseman's voice.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
I liked the whole thing. I enjoyed it. The Thanos thing was a bit much for me.
A bit much? It was completely over the top. When does Thanos become Black Panther's little
buddy?
Yeah, it's stupid.
If it was overly relevant to the overall plot, then I'd have a bigger problem with it. But as it was, it's a what if. I'm willing to accept it. I'm willing to accept that reality is Thanos.
Yeah, I mean, if this was something like if every episode is self-contained for the most part. So, I mean, if it was an entire series dealing with Guardians of the Galaxy with T'Challa running them, I'd expect something to be explained or shown then. But in like a 30-minute episode, okay, whatever. That's fine.
Bought it and moved on. My favorite of the two is the Peggy Carter one. Both of them remind me of the Fleischer cartoons, the Superman, the 1940s Superman Fleischer cartoons. But the Captain Carter, the first episode, really seemed to have a ton in common with the Superman, the original.
And I would
Superman
imagine
cartoons.
on that episode that's entirely on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, it was beautiful. It makes me wish they would do an Adventures of Captain America series set in World War II like that.
After watching it, when the first episode hit and watching it, even in the middle of watching it, I thought the trailers for this show didn't do this show any favors.
No, they really didn't.
Like,
It was
to me, when I watched the trailers and stuff, I was like, none of this looks good at all. Then when you watch it, especially episode 1, this looks fantastic. Animation, not just the character designs, but about how all that stuff should look. Even the animation and direction and everything was just fantastic. And the trailers don't show any of that off.
No, they don't. They really don't. They don't do the first. Like I said, Sandra and I have only seen the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, the third episode, really, I don't know. I can't spoil it too much or anything, but the third episode is really, really bad.
I'll try to check that out soon.
I think the second episode, besides everybody fawning over T'Challa, the thing that gets me is in the MCU, the Guardians of the Galaxy are a bunch of losers, and Star-Lord is the biggest loser. And yet they come together and they're greater than the sum of their parts. They find family. They accept each other's faults and all that other stuff. Well, no. I mean, in this what if, T'Challa is not a loser. I mean, he's just not. He doesn't fit in that. And so the whole theme of Guardians, the MCU Guardians at least, is just kind of tossed out the window. So that's.
Well, I think that's the whole point of
T'Challa
that.
is, to an extent,
he's an inspiration.
Yeah, his greatness is in his birthright for the most part.
They're showing that you can take the kingdom away from T'Challa, and T'Challa still can be a king, but he's not a king in the second episode. He is an inspiration to all those around him. Yondu is better because of T'Challa. Thanos is better because of T'Challa. I don't know how, but we'll grant that. The Marauders are all
of those characters are out of character. Now you want to say it's because T'Challa is making them better. To me, it just totally misses the point of the MCU Guardians.
Well, I don't think it was meant to be about the MCU Guardians. I think it was meant to be about T'Challa. I'm okay with that because this is a what if. This is a what if, and that's the whole thing. I understand that T'Challa can be an inspiration. It would be the same thing if Steve Rogers had been grabbed by Yondu. That similar situation. Instead, they ended up with Quill, who is just a normal guy, a man-child. And they still, over the course of Guardians and Guardians 2, like you said, they still find each other and come together as a family, and they're functional in their own dysfunctional way. Yondu is a better person because of Quill, just not in the same way that Yondu becomes a better person because of T'Challa. T'Challa had advantages that Quill did not have. T'Challa was taught leadership from the moment he popped out of the womb forward. Then you give T'Challa's natural disposition in this. It's a what if. My biggest thing is that Cosmo didn't have a bigger role in it.
I was sort of hoping they'd have Howard the Duck on the team.
Howard the Duck was there. They had drinks and then he left, right?
Yeah, something like that.
You'll be seeing more of Howard. Howard was in Endgame, too, storming the field. You can see him in the background coming through one of the portals. So I'm curious. I'm curious if we know that What If is going to impact the mainstream Marvel Cinematic Universe. We don't know exactly at what point. And so so I'm curious, and it's a difficult question to ask because we hadn't seen the Doctor Strange episode, but could the Doctor Strange we see in the Spider-Man trailer have been affected by the events in the What If cartoon that's upcoming? I think we got a 50-50 shot.
No, I mean, if they did that, it would be a reference that you would catch, and that would be about it.
I was a little confused about the Spider-Man trailer.
I was confused. It's a kid's movie.
I don't think What If is going to have an impact on the MCU.
No, not the way Stan's doing it.
No.
You don't go from the small to the big. You go from the big to the small.
All right. The thing
Movies affect all the TV shows and whatnot, especially something like What If.
Are you saying that you're not going to see live action Captain Carter?
Yes.
I'm not saying we're not.
You're not going to see live action.
I'm just saying it's not going to be some big.
Right. You might see a cameo.
Yeah.
Like a war poster or something of Captain Carter in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness or in the next Loki season, but you're not going to see Captain Carter as a live action character.
I'm saying you're both wrong. I'm saying you're going to see live action Captain Carter. You're going to see live action Marvel Zombies. Now, I don't know at what point or where.
Oh yeah. We'll get that immediately.
Again, like I said, if they show up in a cameo in one of the multiverse shows like Loki or
Doctor Strange. That's where I expect him to show up.
That's not what I consider a live action character.
Okay, so her coming back and being a live action Captain Carter is not. How can it not be considered a live action character?
It's just background. It's just wallpaper. It's not like they're going to make a TV show or she's going to have a plot line. It's just like...
Oh, no, I don't think she's an ongoing franchise. I think she's going to make an appearance in Doctor Strange, or if we make it as far as Secret Wars, somewhere like that. I think she's going to show up as live action Captain Carter. And I think she'll get a few lines, too.
I think it would just be some background Easter egg thing if a live action of any of these characters shows up.
You don't think that Haley Atwell is going to show up as live action Captain Carter in any of the movies?
I don't think she's going to show up as a character that's going to contribute to any plot line of any of the MCU movies. No.
I wouldn't doubt her showing up. I don't think she'd have any lasting effect.
What I'm seeing in my head is, let's say, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange is being tossed from reality to reality, and he gets tossed into a situation where aliens are attacking New York. Part of a building's about to fall on him, and he can't do anything. And then suddenly it stops, and he looks up, and there's Haley Atwell as Captain Carter protecting him with her shield. Yeah, she says something like, "You need to get out of here," or "It's not your time here," or something like that. Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, but that's still like background cameo, not...
It'd be cool.
It's just an Easter egg that they're throwing out there. It's less than, or it's kind of like a Stan Lee cameo.
What if Doctor Strange has to put together a Defenders of the Multiverse and Captain Carter is one of those Defenders?
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't either. I'm just pitching stuff. But I do see Haley Atwell showing up as a live action Captain Carter somewhere, even if it is just a cameo or something. They're entirely setting you up for that. And yes, you're going to see the damn Marvel zombies show up. No ands, ifs, or buts. And I say that from What If because we know we've got a Marvel Zombie What If episode coming. So I think it would be fairly feasible that Doctor Strange might somehow be affected by the episode of What If in the Spider-Man trailer because he was acting weird.
It could.
This is my question. This is the confusion I had about the trailer is in some ways it looked like Parker and Strange messed up the multiverse. Whereas I thought the multiverse was going to had been messed up by the events of Loki.
There's a number of situations that have contributed to the events in Loki as well. At the exact same moment that Kang closes his eyes and says, "Can you feel it?" in the last episode, that's the exact same time marker in that episode that Wanda has her impact on the multiverse in WandaVision in the last episode. That's not a coincidence. That's set up on purpose. It's entirely possible that there are several contributing factors, but the impetus of everything, the thing that stops the Time Variance Authority police going out and correcting these factors is the events in Loki. That moment in time, or that point in time when Kang closes his eyes, several things could happen at once, but because of Sylvie killing Kang, that prevents the Time Variance Authority from correcting the situation in Spider-Man Far From Home or the situation in WandaVision.
Okay.
So Kang is responsible, or the situation with Kang and Loki is responsible for the situation in No Way Home and WandaVision going forward, and all the situations in What If occurring, because there's no more Time Variance police to keep everything in check.
Okay.
I don't know. Just tell a damn story. Why do we have to make everything else?
And it's still keeping you entertained, and you don't have to sit and think about it.
If I got to sit there and watch 17 movies, 14...
You'd be watching them anyway,
television shows and 37 TikToks to watch a Spider-Man movie, then I'm just not going to watch a damn Spider-Man movie.
I haven't seen the other two, so don't feel alone.
Are you kidding me? You hadn't seen the other two?
No, I have not.
They don't do nothing.
They're supposed to be showing up on Disney Plus here shortly. Sony cut some sort of deal that the Spider-Man movies are coming to Disney Plus. I'm telling you, and the Sony Disney deal is so far bigger than anybody suspects. Spider-Man is coming to Disney Plus, so Tom Holland and Zendaya. Fans rejoice. Deadline reports that Disney and Sony have inked a multi-year pact to make Spider-Man a part of Disney Plus, with new films released between 2022 and 2026, moving to the platform after landing first at Netflix. The deal also includes library rights to the Spider-Man franchise. This is according to Decider. This landmark multi-year platform agnostic agreement guarantees the teams at Disney Media and Entertainment Distribution a tremendous amount of flexibility and breadth of programming possibilities to leverage Sony's rich slate of award-winning action and family films across our direct-to-consumer services and linear channels. So I would look for this to be a success, the Spider-Man situation to be a success. And since Sony does not have a streaming service of its own going forward, for Disney and Sony to continue to work together, and Sony stuff coming to Hulu and Disney Plus, at least through 2026, which is how long they've got Tom Holland's Spider-Man signed up, which also goes back to the speculation about Venom's part of the MCU now. Morbius is part of the MCU. Dear God, we've completely forgotten about Morbius having a movie.
Yeah, what's that? What's the deal with that movie?
They pushed him back and they pushed him back. But look, also, you notice that they didn't give an exact release date on Far From Home either. They just said Christmas. Morbius is coming out January 28th, 2022.
In reality, they should just do Spider-Man at Christmas, regardless of how they have to release it.
They have agreed, and let me refer you to the last episode's giant Scarlett Johansson discussion, where we were all in agreement, but yet somehow Stan was still the bad guy.
Yeah, I don't know how that conversation went on for 45 minutes when I literally stopped talking like 10 minutes into it.
Sandra and I had a misunderstanding there. Anyway,
I almost threw up. It went on so long.
Sandra didn't know how
enchiladas coming up my throat.
Sandra didn't know how to react to me being on her side. They've cut an agreement with several theater groups that they have a 45-day heads up on the movies before the streaming services take them, which is also what HBO Max has agreed to. Warner Brothers has agreed to concerning HBO Max. I believe that begins in January for HBO Max.
Yeah.
For the Warner Brother movies, or Warner Brother properties, I should say. It begins for Disney with Shang-Chi. So Shang-Chi will be in the theater for 45 days before it's offered on Disney Plus in any format, and Spider-Man will as well.
Great. Now I got to go get COVID to watch a stupid movie.
No, you don't. You can go to the drive-thru. I've already figured this out for Shang-Chi. We're going to the drive-thru for it.
Drive-thru?
Drive-in, I'm sorry. The drive-thru.
The drive-thru, you just pull up, they just stick a cell phone in your face for 5 minutes. Then David Lynch cusses at you and watching the movie on cell phone, then you go about your business.
Oh, and Eternals as well. That goes
oh, that's right. That boring-looking movie's coming out.
Yeah, that boring-looking movie's coming out at Christmas also. I don't know how to feel about Eternals and Shang-Chi. I'm not as excited about Shang-Chi, and that's largely because I don't like the comic book that's running currently. Eternals, I really like the comic book, and I still don't know quite how to feel about Eternals.
I don't want to talk bad about the MCU at the moment, but... like everything in the MCU, it's not super bright and colorful. Everything has sort of a flat look to it on purpose. I'm not saying it look bad, but everything has a very standard flat look to it. Eternals looks worse than that. Like there's nothing to it. There's no color or anything.
So far as any MCU movie is concerned, in the past, I've always been kind of less than excited, like I am right now about Shang-Chi and Eternals, but they haven't failed me yet. I have not left any MCU movie feeling bland about it. I've enjoyed them all. I really have. I know y'all want to argue Iron Man 2 and Thor 2 and so on and so forth, but I've enjoyed all of the movies. They've not been off track with me. They'll have to go out of their way. I know, spoiler alert, everybody, Ben Kingsley is in Shang-Chi.
They would probably at least bring him in there to sort of just clean it up for a minute.
To make the connection.
Yeah.
what have you, with the 5 rings and the situation in Iron Man 1, 2, and 3.
If you like any of the wushu movies, I don't see how you could not be excited about the Shang-Chi movie.
Like, I'm interested in Shang-Chi. I hope Shang-Chi's, all these movies I don't want to suck, but I want Shang-Chi to be like a good, expensive looking kung fu movie.
Yeah.
That's what it needs to look like and be.
Oh,
I think Andy Lau's his dad.
No.
Is it not?
Tony Leung.
Tony Leung. Why
Andy Lau.
Andy Lau?
Michelle Yeoh is in there too,
Okay.
and she's fantastic.
Michelle Yeoh is in everything now. Legally, Disney can't do anything without including Michelle Yeoh in it right now.
Well, that's because she's awesome.
I'm going to go see it, and I expect that when I come out, I'll love it. It's just right now I'm not buying the Shang-Chi T-shirts or the Eternals T-shirts for that matter. I inherently do not like Angelina Jolie. I've not seen any of her recent stuff where I think she's a bad actress. I don't think she's a bad actress. I just don't like her. I don't like Tom Cruise, but yet I watch every damn Tom Cruise movie that hits the screen too. So it's
Tom Cruise movies have a certain slickness and cleanness to them that no other, even like expensive Marvel movies, don't have that look to them.
Well, yeah,
they are polished to a fine shine. Even the Tom Cruise movies I think are garbage. There's a certain production quality to them that other movies just don't have.
No, I agree wholeheartedly, and he always does a great job in them.
Yeah.
Even ones that I think are just absolutely horrible, like Mission Impossible 2 and 3, he still does an outstanding job in them. And I feel the same way about Angelina Jolie. No, I don't like Angelina Jolie, but here, let's watch both Maleficents. Let's buy them both on 4K Ultra or whatever it is. And yeah, so.
Those are okay movies.
Well, so long as you accept that this is an alternate Maleficent, Yeah, I'm fine with that. So Maleficent is of the fairies in the Angelina Jolie movie, as opposed to her being Satan's concubine in the original Disney movie. Don't want to make her an anti-hero, so okay. Y'all knew that, right?
Yes.
In the cartoon?
Yeah, sure, I knew it. And I don't think I've seen that movie in like 30 years, but sure, I knew it.
No, I watch it
I should watch it. That's a good movie.
It's a gorgeous movie. Yeah, and the little goblins and the little hell bastards.
It's no Black Cauldron.
I've got to watch Black Cauldron. I saw a making of on the Black Cauldron, so I've decided I'm going to watch Black Cauldron in the next month. I hadn't seen it since it came out at the theater.
They're making a Midnight Suns video game.
God. But I don't think that's the real Midnight Suns, is it?
No. It's the game is being created by Firaxis, which do the XCOM games, which are fantastic games. And what it is, it's going to be a turn-based tactics game, with probably some base building or something in it. So if you look up videos of XCOM, it'll be that, like it's a squad-based game. And
well, let's talk about comic books, shall we?
I guess.
Okay, right out of the gate here, Scott had written in. Scott and a couple other people asked about Amazing Spider-Man. We've also got a couple of requests about the Star Wars comics that are coming out. Sandra, Albert, y'all don't read Star Wars, do you?
Not really. Every once in a while, I dabble in it here and there, but not too much.
Sandra, of course, you're barely aware that Star Wars is a thing, right?
Yeah, barely. Barely.
Okay, well, Star Wars comics, all of the Star Wars comics, Star Wars, Darth Vader, Bounty Hunters, Dr. Aphra, all of the Star Wars comics are involved in the War of the Bounty Hunters. During transport to Jabba the Hutt, the carbonite starts malfunctioning on Han Solo, and so Fett lands on a planet to get the carbonite repaired. Fett is distracted, and during the distraction, Crimson Dawn steps in and steals Han Solo and carbonite. Jabba thinks Fett has betrayed him, so Jabba puts a bounty on Boba Fett. In the meantime, Crimson Dawn has sent out an invitation to Jabba, all of the Hutt clan, all of the different crime syndicates, and the rebellion. Come, join us. We have something of interest to you. It gets out real quick that Crimson Dawn has Han Solo. All these groups are gathering. The leader of Crimson Dawn steps forward, and it's Kira, who we last saw in the movie Solo, answering to the head of Crimson Dawn at that time, who was Darth Maul. But at this point in Star Wars continuity, Darth Maul has died. about 5 years before the destruction of the first Death Star, 5 years before the Battle of Yavin. So in that time, everybody thought Crimson Dawn had depleted, disintegrated, gone by the wayside, when in fact Kira took it over, was restructuring, and is now making her debut by kidnapping her one-time lover, Han Solo, and putting him up for auction while he's in the Carbonite. Also, during this situation, Vader has come to terms with the fact that he and Luke are not going to be able to destroy the Emperor together as he offered to Luke in Empire Strikes Back, that the Emperor is way too powerful. Vader has found out about Exegol. Vader has found out about all these situations. He was stripped down to nothing by the Emperor, and he built himself back up, found his way to Exegol, re-earned his place by Emperor Palpatine. And in the course of this, Vader has, I don't want to say befriended, but come into possession of a new employee, Ochi of Bastoon, who is the individual we see in Rise of Skywalker that killed Rey's parents. Ochi of Bastoon was sent out by the Emperor to kill Darth Vader because Ochi was known as a Jedi hunter. He had killed 2 or 3 Jedi from the Clone War period forward. So after Vader has beat the snot out of him but spared his life for his servitude, Ochi of Bastoon now serves Vader. Vader has decided that he's done playing with Luke. He made Luke the offer. Luke rejected it, and they wouldn't have been able to beat the Emperor anyhow. So his path is serving the Emperor, and he's done screwing around with Luke, and he finds out that Solo is up for auction by Crimson Dawn. And Vader has just essentially stepped into the auction in the middle of the Hutts, having won the bid, and said, no, you're all mistaken. Captain Solo is coming with me, because he plans to use Solo to lure Luke toward him so Vader can kill Luke and eliminate anything that stands in the way of his serving the dark side and the Emperor. So that's where we are right now. My favorite scene so far has been that Kira tells one of her associates when Vader steps up that, don't worry, I know how to handle Sith Lords, and then promptly attacks Darth Vader and gets it handed to her. So I love that scene. There's some great dialogue throughout the whole thing. It sounds way more complicated than it actually is, but we're getting great character moments with the bounty hunters, everybody from Forlom and Zuckuss to Dengar, and of course, Boba Fett. There's great character play going on here, and a lot of this is being used to set up the book of Boba Fett. So Smart Money says that you're going to see Kira in the book of Boba Fett somewhere. Since at the end of The Mandalorian, we saw that Boba Fett took over Jabba's throne, and we assume the crime organization now that Jabba is no longer with us. So I think it's a great book series. I'm entertained thoroughly by it. Some of it gets a little repetitive, which I didn't care for. There were 2 issues where they used almost the exact same pages, and I think that's a cheap ploy. I don't like it when they do that, but that only happened in 2 issues. So I'm willing to forgive them and go forward. Dr. Aphra has been highly entertaining during all of this. The Star Wars and Darth Vader books have been great, so I highly recommend you pick them up if you're Star Wars fans. And we'll try to give more attention to Star Wars as the program goes. But it's hard, because Sandra and Albert don't help me in Star Wars.
For good reason.
So yeah, I definitely recommend you pick these books up. My least favorite of the current Star Wars books out, the current mainstream Marvel Star Wars comics, my least favorite is the Bounty Hunters title. And I don't like that because they brought back this character from the 70s Marvel comics, and Marvel just stop it. The Green Rabbit coming back, Jackson coming back, that's cute. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Okay, fine. But bringing back every bad idea that you had in the 70s and trying to make it work here, this doesn't go over real well. I like High Republic. High Republic dragged for a couple of issues, but now it's picked back up. I'm really enjoying it as well. So I recommend you pull most all of the mainstream Star Wars comic books. Browse Bounty Hunters. I don't care for it, but there's other Star Wars fans that do. Dr. Aphra. Dr. Aphra is hysterical. I don't see how anybody could not like Dr. Aphra. She had a slow first 5 issues during the reboot, but they found their pacing on her. My one complaint about most of the Star Wars comics is that each Star Wars comic should have top-notch artwork artwork in it. They pay attention to the writing in a wonderful manner, but I feel they should pay more attention to the artwork. I want better artwork in them. Darth Vader has good artwork in it, very good artwork in it. So does the main Star Wars title. But the rest of them, it's like, who's available this week? And I don't like that. I think all the Star Wars books needs to have top-notch artists on it at all times, even if they have to pull them from the Marvel comic books. So that's my opinion on the Star Wars.
I don't think they should pull anything from the Marvel comics.
They ain't got nothing to pull.
Well, whatever they've got,
we were talking about
hang
that
on to it with both fingers.
We were talking about that earlier. Artists are becoming even more in high demand. Albert, have you been reading Amazing Spider-Man?
I have. I'm a little bit behind, but I do read it.
Yeah, I think you're just missing the one that just came out this week, the week of August 25th.
Okay.
The Sinister War, Nick Spencer's still on it. As we said, I don't think Nick Spencer's going to leave it until he resolves the Sinister War and the Mephisto situation that apparently got willed over to him when he took over the Amazing Spider-Man. We're learning that Kindred is not actually Harry Osborn. Next issue, we should be finding out who Kindred actually is. And we've also learned that in addition to Peter Parker having made the deal with Mephisto in One More Day, also Doc Ock made a deal with Mephisto to save somebody close to him, has returned to his normal Doc Ock ways, and has no memory of making the deal with Mephisto. In the current issue, we've learned that Norman Osborn made a deal with Mephisto before anybody else did.
Oh, God.
Way back when.
When did Aunt May make a deal with?
Aunt May made a deal with him when she turned into Marissa Tomei.
Jeez.
And I got to say, good deal making there.
Pretty good deal right there. I'd take that deal.
Yeah. Kudos, Aunt May.
I'll eat those wheat cakes.
Yeah, okay, we have changed subject because Sandra's not laughing.
Okay. How dare I sexualize women?
It's like it's a bridge too far when Sandra goes behind it.
Actually, I'm distracted by something else. That's all right.
So everybody's made a deal with Mephisto. In less capable hands, I'd be worried, but Nick Spencer has been damn consistent on Amazing Spider-Man. He seems to know where he's going and what he's doing. All his previous story points fed into one another. He's done a great job in the last, what's it been, 2-3 years?
Yeah, I think 3 years, I think.
Yeah, about 3 years. From 2019, 3 years. I'm curious to see how he wraps it all up. Yeah, normally I would say, I don't like where this is going. But instead, when I read this week's issue, Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 72, I thought, well, this is a cluster fudge situation. Yeah, we also got email about me cussing. So...
The children.
Why are you kids listening to us? We got to be boring as hell to them. I'm excited by this. I'm curious to see where it goes. Kindred has also kidnapped Mary Jane now, and he's about to reveal himself to her. I have a theory, Albert, and tell me how this sounds. In One More Day, everybody overlooks that it was Mary Jane that sealed the deal with Mephisto. Remember? Because Peter was so gung-ho, he forgot to protect Aunt May in covering and concealing his identity, and that was a loophole that Mephisto was clearly going to exploit until Mary Jane stopped the whole thing and pointed it out. And Mephisto said, but the deal has already been cut, and he has nothing else to offer me. Then Mary Jane says, but I do. And she comes forward to him. And she whispers something to him, which is, we could not decipher what she offered him. And Mephisto says, done. That was the end of it. I have always thought that Mary Jane offered Mephisto her conscious suffering, knowing what she had lost completely and totally, rather than just the Peter suffering on the inside. His soul knows that something's missing, but it doesn't know what, when he wiped out Mary Jane and Peter's marriage. I've always thought that Mary Jane offered him, you can make it where I know exactly what I've lost, and I'll suffer for it every day and not be able to do anything about it. But is it possible that instead she offered a piece of her own soul, and that this is what Kindred is?
I don't know, because he does say we.
Yeah.
So,
And he's wearing a mask, or he can rip off the outer shell of his face if it's not a mask. I think that whatever it is what Mary Jane offered to Mephisto, or it somehow ties in there.
Yeah, probably.
Mephisto, who appears everywhere except in WandaVision.
Why do you say that you don't know what she
walked
offered?
forward. She walked forward to Mephisto, and she has a word balloon when she goes up to him, but the word balloon is indecipherable. The text inside the word balloon is indecipherable.
Because I'm looking at the words in this text balloon right now.
Are you looking at the last issue of One More Day?
No, I'm looking at the...
You're looking at the current issue. I'm talking about the last issue of One More Day. Yeah. When J. Michael Straczynski was writing it. She says something to Mephisto in the last issue of One More Day, and you cannot make out the words in the word balloon by design, meaning that Peter can't hear, the reader can't hear, only Mary Jane and Mephisto know what Mary Jane offered him. And so I'm wondering how. I'm willing to bet that Kindred is tied to that, but I'm wondering how, because Nick Spencer has clearly been on a vendetta to either undo the events of One More Day or modify the events of One More Day.
Yeah, they're going to have to. They've always knew that they would have to do something about One More Day.
At the end of this issue, all you see is Mary Jane's shocked face as Kindred says, "It's time for you to learn the truth, no matter the cost," which I bet that this is some aspect of Mary Jane's soul that she gave to Mephisto or something along those lines. Somehow it's got to tie in to what Mary Jane offered Mephisto at the end of One More Day. I'm saying pull it. I enjoy Amazing Spider-Man. I know we don't talk about it because we're trying not to be as repetitive. And we used to talk about Amazing Spider-Man every week or every other week. Spider-Man under Nick Spencer is a solid book. It's been heavily entertaining. I know a lot of people don't like the Mephisto stuff. I didn't want to revisit the Mephisto stuff, but he's got me. He's got me entrapped in the story. I want to know where it goes and how it comes out. So I say pull Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, I say pull it. The Kindred stuff is going on way too long. Mm-hmm. It's almost Red Hulk too long at this point.
Yeah.
But it's been pretty good.
But we picked up the pace. We're coming toward the climax.
Yeah. We're getting to it. So it's working out okay now.
Also, from the past couple of weeks, we got Defenders issue number 1 by Al Ewing, Javier Rodriguez, and Alvaro Lopez.
What an amazing book!
And the art in it is just outstanding, very Ditko-esque.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's pretty amazing.
Gorgeous book, great colors, very Steve Ditko psychedelic, Doctor Strange looking book.
I was just sitting here trying to think. I know there's a lot of people that like Chris Bacalo, but I did not like his Doctor Strange run. So this is all the crazy psychedelic magic looking things, some great detail, and you could actually see it. You could actually see it as opposed to, I can't tell what this mess is on this page. It's fantastic. There's so many little touches in there that I would just go rave on and on about. But yes, buy this book. It's
very well set up. I like the tarot card aspect.
Yeah, that's how he gets the team together. This team of defenders is he doesn't just dial up the old school boys. He pulls out a tarot deck. He's done this before too. And let the tarot deck pull in the characters that he needs to make the Defenders team to solve this major cosmic problem that Masquerader, I think is his name, is presenting him with. I don't know if any of y'all remember, but there was a $10 Marvel 1000 book.
Yes.
Oh, so it was horrible. But
we never followed it up in anything. And
well, this is the follow-up because they did it, and then they just didn't do anything with it.
Part of it was COVID, and part of it was like some other stuff. But yeah, this is the follow-up to it.
Your team for this Defenders is the Sorcerer Supreme, the Masquerader, the Silver Surfer, Harpy from the Hulk. Betty Banner Harpy, and Cloud. Boy, we haven't seen Cloud in a little while, have we?
Yeah, he's digging deep for Cloud in the Defender lore.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. When I was a kid and Cloud was in the Defenders, Cloud was a non-pronoun character. Were they not?
I think
it didn't know it had it wasn't quite male, wasn't quite female.
No, it could go between the genders, if I remember.
It could go between the genders. So before anybody starts screaming political correctness, Cloud has been like this since, 1983?
Yeah. Cloud is actually a nebula.
Yeah.
And somehow manifests as gender fluid. Okay.
Nebula that gained human form via the influence of a cosmic cube and a chance encounter with teenagers Carol Faber and Danny Milligan, whose bodies and senses Cloud combined and co-opted for their own.
Thank you. Buy this book. It looks great, crazy. It looks like it's going to be a crazy Defenders ride. Al Ewing's writing it.
Galactus's mom shows up in the next issue.
Yeah. I can't recommend it enough.
It's a beautiful book. Buy it for the artwork, if for nothing else. I enjoyed the story too. I thought it was real great. So you're saying pull it. I'm saying pull it. Albert?
Yeah, I say pull it. It's a great book.
Okay, let's go ahead and discuss Superman, Son of Kal-El. Issues number 1 and 2, because we never discussed number 1, but we'll discuss 1 and 2 now. I'm enjoying the series. I've liked the first 2 issues. I have a real problem, as I believe Albert did, with Bendis aging Jonathan Kent. There was no point to that whatsoever. I have another real problem. I don't want to see the Didio agenda where we replace Superman on Earth with Jonathan Kent, and that's exactly what we're walking toward. Superman will be in action and Superman comics, but he'll end up being on War World facing Mongol. And Albert, I've said it to you several times, I do not like the concept of Mongol other than the Alan Moore annual and when Wonder Woman killed him point blank dead at the beginning of Infinite Crisis. Otherwise, Mongol is, to me, he's a cheese writer hack when they don't have anything else to go to.
I like them in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited cartoons. In the comics, and I said this earlier before we recorded, in the comics, I think he works good for an issue or 2 story.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah, I did not like Bendis aging Jonathan Kent. To me, there's no point to it. Tom Taylor has had a good take on Jonathan in the first 2 issues. He's actually drawn me into the character of Jonathan more than I've been since when he was a kid. I enjoyed him when he was a kid, and I enjoyed reading him as a son of Superman when he was a kid alongside Damian. Son of Batman. Those were fun and entertaining, and he had a personality. Bendis comes along, ages him, 10 years? And now
I don't know if it's 10 years. No, 10 years is wrong.
He's 16? He's entering college. He's 18 years old in Son of Kal-El. So he's 18 years old. And a situation occurs in issue number 2 that prevents him from having a secret identity on his first day of college. I enjoyed it. I thought the issue was good. It made me care. The first 2 issues have made me care a little more about Jonathan Kent as an 18-year-old than I did before. So hats off to Tom Taylor for that. You should take a look at it. So I'm saying you're a Superman fan, pull the first 2 issues of Son of Kal-El.
I say browse it. But I haven't read issue 2 yet, but issue 1 I enjoy. But for now, maybe just browse it, just see where it goes.
Just browse it, see where it goes. The reason I'm saying pull it is because I empathized with Jonathan Kent on a couple of these pages. And when I realized that I empathized with him in spite of Bendis fast aging him and everything else, not enjoying the Jonathan Kent stories in Future State, not wanting Superman replaced on Earth, not wanting Clark Kent replaced on Earth by this individual, Tom Taylor managed to still get me to empathize with him. So there's something to be said there. That's why I'm going all the way and say pull the first 2 issues. Sandra, how do you feel about Superman?
Who?
Okay, there we go.
Why do we have him?
I say pull it. Albert says browse it. So that's Superman, Son of Kal-El, issues 1 and 2. Okay, and a couple of image mentions here. We go over these books every week. New issue of Department of Truth came out this week. Takes a damn good turn. Is still a damn good book written by James Tynion IV from Image Comics. So yeah, if you're not reading Department of Truth, the artwork's going to be off-putting for some, but it matches the book perfectly. Last issue dealt with Sasquatch. This episode deals with contents that have built up over the first 7 or 8 issues. Highly recommend Department of Truth by Tynion. So give that a look.
I kind of gave up on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? They didn't do Atlantis?
Well, I'm sure that's coming. I think I'm going to read it in trade. It's hard for me to keep up with it.
It's not a happy fun book.
Well, I mean, I have to go back and like, okay, what is this? Okay, all right. So I'm just going to read it in trade.
Trade would be a good way. You've also got the first trade out there, so pick up the first trade. Trade would be a solid way of reading this because, like I said, it's not a happy, fun book, and it's something that requires you pay attention to it. It might be easier for most people in trade, but I'm still reading it issue by issue. Albert, what do you say? I still say pull it.
I say pull it. I mean, I haven't read this week's issue because we're recording on Wednesday, and I haven't read anything yet, but I don't see why it would be any different from the other 11 issues, so pull it.
Yeah, solid book, so pull it. Once in Future, damn, that has taken a twist.
That's an image book?
That's not an image book.
Oh, the second comic we want to give a shout out to from Boom is Once in Future. Damn, it has taken a hell of a twist in the last 2 issues. It was good before, and now it's great. This is a hell of a series. I cannot say enough good things about it. So still, I'm saying pull Once in Future. And Sandra, you chose that. Last episode has the book to pick up if you're just getting into something.
Mm-hmm. And it has 3 trades out. So you can get all 3 trades. And then this issue that came out is the beginning of a new arc. Mm-hmm. And the 3 trades cover issues 1 through 18, and the issue that came out today is 19. So you'd be right there.
So, and Albert, you're on board with this too, aren't you?
Yeah, I read it every time it comes out. I think it's fantastic.
One of the best damn comic books out there. So do yourself a favor and pick up the trades of Once in Future, get caught up with it, because the roller coaster ride that we thought we were on was just actually the preamble to what's starting right now. Yeah. So this is some good stuff. One that came out last week, Fantastic Four Life Story number 3, the 80s. I'm still not liking this as much as I like the Spider-Man book, but this may be one of the best Johnny Storm stories that Marvel has put forward. And keep in mind, it's an alternate reality Fantastic Four where they age decade by decade.
They did a real good job with Johnny in this book. They really have.
Finally. I mean, they've basically ignored him for the first 2 issues, just like Ben Grimm, which I'm like, how in the world could you write a Fantastic Four book and ignore Ben Grimm?
This was a pretty, and not meaning this as a pun, but this was a pretty grim book. This issue was a pretty grim issue. They really did right by Johnny in this. So my hat's off to him. While I'm still not a big fan of the overall series, if you're a Johnny Storm fan at all, you should pick up issue number 3 of Fantastic Four Life Story.
Well, I don't think it was the best Johnny Storm thing. I mean, the best Johnny Storm thing was Hickman's Annihilus. Hickman's take on Johnny Storm's death, quote unquote.
You don't think the best Johnny Storm issue was where the kid took a can of gasoline and poured it over himself in the John Byrne run?
No.
That was a unique issue there. That's why Hanna-Barbera replaced him with Herbie. There was some concern over the cartoon that kids might want to emulate him and set themselves on fire.
It's crazy.
I thought it was because there were some rights issues with the Human Torch considered.
Well, it turns out that, yes, that's correct. But what got out to the public was they were concerned about kids setting themselves on fire, which is where the John Byrne issue came from. John Byrne will not let any urban myth go to waste if he can work it into one of his storylines. Did you read that, Sandra?
Oh, yeah.
God. That was a horrible horror. It was one of these, what the hell are you thinking, Byrne? Was there not another way to fill in an issue here? I thought the Playboy people getting pictures of She-Hulk sunbathing, I thought that was genius too. That was right around the same time too. John Byrne people, boy, they do not make comics like John Byrne used to make. You know, the editors at Marvel had to be like, John Byrne's doing 3 fill-in issues. You're like, oh, great. But overall, what did you think of Fantastic Four Life Story?
Well, I say pull it. I really like it.
I don't think he has a clue about Namor. And
God,
last issue when Sue left read for Namor, you were like, "This man knows what he's doing."
No, I didn't. I said that Namor
should have put a ring on it.
I'm sure Namor wanted to put a ring on it, but obviously Sue didn't because she didn't want to divorce Reed.
She divorced him.
No, that happened this issue.
This issue. Okay, but before
she'd been estranged for years. Like anybody who puts Namor in clothes doesn't really have a good grasp on Namor.
Really? That's the hang up? He put clothes on?
I mean, like what? Why is he walking around in what, Bermuda shorts and Hawaiian shirt?
Because Sue whipped him. That's why.
Stupid.
I think I have that exact same outfit.
Yeah. That Namor does not walk around in clothes like that. I mean, he wears clothes. He wore a suit. I don't have any issue with that.
Hats off to Namor.
He even wore a horrible 80s suit to go to that museum or whatever the thing that him and Sue went to. But when he's lounging around at home, no, he's not wearing that.
Hats off to Namor. When he thinks there's about to be a nuclear holocaust and Sue has to go get Franklin, Namor says, Sue, forget Franklin. We can start over.
That's the other thing. That is absolutely not Namor. So
I don't know, Sandra. I was watching some YouTube videos and I got to tell you.
That is not Namor. The other thing is, okay, so this is the 80s. Sue is like probably pushing 50. There's no starting over with new kids. So no.
I don't know. If you recall, John Byrne had Sue first meet Reed Richards when she was 12. I'm not making the John Byrne stuff up.
Yeah, but she did not go on the flight and become Invisible Girl when she was 12.
No. She was 14 then. Married at 15.
Mm-hmm.
It was a different time.
It was a different time, wasn't it?
Lord have mercy. Y'all are horrible.
It was the early 80s when John Byrne was rewriting everything.
What was it with John Byrne rewriting stuff? People all go on and on about his Namor run, and I'm like, why did he keep trying to make up? He kept trying to explain
Namor
things.
Had bubbles in his blood that made him angry.
I know. It was like, why are you trying to explain stuff that does not need to be explained? Why would you make Namor Rita a clone? Why would you give Namor a quote unquote chemical imbalance? What the heck are you doing?
I'm telling you, I own that exact same shirt and those cargo pants.
That's what I'm saying. Namor is not going to dress like you, Stan. God. Let's go back to that first issue where Namor is just lounging around in his Speedo while everybody else in the room is fully dressed.
Hey, you said that Sue wouldn't be able, in the 80s, that Sue had to be pushing 50 and probably wasn't able to have kids. Wouldn't Sue just lay eggs and Namor inseminate them like most fish? Or how would that work?
I'm not even going to bother answering that.
Albert, do you want to take a guess?
I mean,
I guess he squats over him or something.
You know what? I'm sitting here thinking the whole not have kids, Lord have mercy.
I saw Finding Nemo. I know how fish biology works.
Well, but you don't seem to know how ladies' biologies work.
God knows I don't.
Don't criticize me. Namor is taking dressing points from me.
That's sad. So sad.
I say browse it. If you're a Johnny Storm fan, I think this is one of the better Johnny Storm stories.
I don't even really think it's a Johnny Storm story. It's just one issue where somebody focused on Johnny. I've been browsing it, to be honest. I've been browsing it.
No, I say buy it.
Okay, there you go. Hell, I'm going to change mine to buy it because I think you just need to see the outfit Namor's wearing.
Well, here's my big gripe about this. I know it's an alternate universe, but all these characters are just off. I know Reed Richards is a dick, but my God, he's not that much of a dick. And
yes, he is.
Well, maybe he is. I don't know, but I don't think Reed Richards is focused on one threat at a time like he is in this. And Sue is off. Everybody is off. And I know part of it is it's hard to focus on the whole team when you're doing 5 or 6 issues. And there's way too much focus on this weird read. So
before we move on from Fantastic Four Life Story, I want to give a shout out. Chip Zdarsky has put out with Mark Bagley an annual for Spider-Man Life Story. out of the blue, and it fits into the Spider-Man life story miniseries from before, but the annual is a one-shot focusing on J. Jonah Jameson, who we didn't see much of in the Spider-Man life story miniseries. Definitely give that a look. If you like the miniseries, you're going to very much enjoy this annual that Zdarsky has put out this week, Spider-Man life story. I definitely encourage you to take a look at that. Let's talk a little bit about the X books as a whole from the last 2 weeks. The Trial of Magneto and the X-Men issue, Day of X. And I think out of everything they've put out the last 2 weeks, Way of X with Nightcrawler and Legion was the most enjoyable for me. But Magneto seemed wholly out of constructed character from the way he's been in the rest of the Krakoa saga in issue number 1 of Trial of Magneto to me.
Yeah, I was about to say, just like the Fantastic Four life story, this characterization is completely off. I don't know what they were thinking here. It's obviously
I don't know what they're doing. That's why
it's obviously plot over characterization.
It's almost as though somebody's writing this that has not been following the rest of the story. Magneto goes wildly out of established character. There are things that would change in, say, Magneto and Charles's life that would change their opinions. And this Moira situation would definitely be one of them. Having a plan and a situation concerning the way Moira's mutant ability works with her lives and death and being aware of that, that is a deep, deep level change. Or could present these characters deep level changes, which we've seen previously in the Krakoa saga, only to have Magneto go full Stan Lee, Jack Kirby Magneto inside of 2 pages because he's being accused of a crime that we know he did not commit. I mean, it's so readily apparent that he did not kill the Scarlet Witch that it's not funny, at least to the readers. He even goes so far as to start to crush Charles's head with the Cerebro unit that Charles is wearing. This was just completely out of whack to me. The only interesting part I thought was they finally brought Quicksilver in when Quicksilver attacked him. And yes, Quicksilver would react like that.
Yeah, I agree. Quicksilver is...
It feels like filler X books all the way from Marauders across. I did like Way of X. Way of X stood out to me more than anything else. I'm nervous going forward with the Hickman situation. We talked earlier about Hickman's coming back for Inferno, but like Albert said, apparently Hickman's just given up control over the X books.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. I was truly enjoying this situation all the way through. Since the gala, it's just been kind of bland to me. So rather than put a grade or telling you to pull it, buy it, or browse it, consider this just a warning. I'm not liking the current X-Men title. I know we've only got 2 issues of it, but
it's okay. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I liked issue 1 and 2. I'd say, I don't know. Like issue 1 I thought was great, but issue 2 sort of just didn't do much anything else with it. So
yeah.
So I guess browsing on the X-Men books, most of those X-Men books are just pointless.
I'd take everything down to a browse it until Hickman comes back with Inferno, and maybe he's got some ground to cover there. I'm hoping so. But right now, it just seems like Hickman's stopped paying attention to it.
Well,
and I don't like that.
I wouldn't say that he stopped paying attention to it. He just let people explore what they wanted in the X-Men. I mean, he's not an editor.
No, but he should be in charge of that line, though.
Yeah, when your idea is the best, your idea is the best. And in the meantime, while it was a good story in New Mutants to see them rescue Nightmare Girl from that netherworld and bring her on board to Krakoa, I don't need the entirety of the last 2-3 issues of New Mutant to be about Nightmare Girl. I want it to be about Magic, Roberto, Sam, Rain, and Karma, and Danielle Moonstar. Those are the most interesting characters. We have a great dynamic there, and we've just lost it. That's one book that
book has been that way since the beginning, though. You'd have the good issues that Hickman wrote with what I consider the core New Mutants, and then you'd have Ed Brisson doing another arc with these auxiliary New Mutants.
I thought Ed Brisson's first storyline on it was great, with Bird Boy going back home and all. I started to call her Flip Flop, but what's her name? She has a drinking problem. Boom Boom. Boom Boom. Yeah, Boom Boom. It's Boom Boom. With Boom Boom walking in, I very much enjoyed that. I enjoyed the first year and a half of the New Mutant stories, but now we're just recycling.
Well,
There's so much.
This is not Ed Brisson anymore, or
no, I know.
It's another writer. So I guess I just don't want to say that Hickman lost interest or Hickman lost control or whatever, because Hickman was never in that situation. The situation that y'all seem to be painting him in.
I can
the
tell
actual editor of the X line and the other writers wanted to spend more time in the beginning part of his storyline, I guess is what you would call it.
There's a distinct difference from when this began to the end of the gala to the last month's worth of X books. There's a distinct difference in quality in writing, artwork, and everything else. And I don't think Marvel needs to play around in this. If it wasn't Hickman in charge or anything, they need to go back to whatever playbook they were using before. I'm just disappointed, and it hurts because for the first time since Claremont left, we have a clear direction for X-Men, a unique direction, a unique take on the same old situation where there's anything could happen. You feel like literally anything could happen in this, and now it's going to get piecemealed off to 2-bit writer that doesn't go to SubStack's preference on what he wants to do with the X-Men, or she, or whomever. This is as good a place as any to rip it up. Wrap it up. We'd like to thank our sponsor once again, IVIWatches.com. Look, IVI Watches is doing something else now. They're about to, you're going to see it in the coming days ahead. So right now you type in Kingdom, you get 40% off. That's 40% off at IVIWatches.com right now to help him clear current inventory to move forward. So take a look at the website. Their watches are great, IVIWatches.com. We'd also like to thank and once again welcome our new sponsor, USA Economy Lodge in Irondale. Go in, mention Albert sent you, and you could get shot over it. Of course, you could get shot just going into the parking lot. I'm just
so
saying, folks,
wrong.
stay the hell away from USA Economy. That was a news story here locally, and I thought it was funny. I mean, they got pictures of actual bed bugs in the beds on the TripAdvisor and such.
No thanks.
Thank you once again to all of our contributors, Alex, Demetrius, Alonzo, especially, and Mr. Klosky, of course, and Travis. Thank you all so much. We appreciate you greatly, but we appreciate most our listeners. Thank you for listening to us and continuing to give us great numbers, even when we go into a 2-week recession. We greatly appreciate that. You got any ideas or things you want to hear about, or just let us know what how you're doing. Love us, hate us, send them to us at Kingdom Casts. That's Kingdom CASTS at gmail.com, Kingdom Comics at gmail.com, Kingdom Casts or Kingdom Comics on Instagram and Twitter as well. Follow us there. Thank you so very much. We appreciate it. We enjoy this. Sandra, do you have any last words? It's like it's a shock to you at the end of each episode that I ask this.
I'm sorry. There's no namer. There's no namer plugging this for the past 2 weeks. Write Marvel and demand some more Namor, please.
God, Albert, any last words?
Nah, I'm good.
All right. Well, tell them good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you all so very much. Kingdom Casts is owned by Kingdom Comics Incorporated and produced by Stan Daniel and Albert Marsh. No part of this program may be reproduced, replicated, or replayed without permission. Special thanks to Sandra Swindle. Also, thank you to our content contributors, Jason Bean, Tim Bryant, Cornelius Burrows, Denise Daniel, Josh Duke, Alex Fitzpatrick, Hatcher, Charles Hickey, Ali Marceau, Joseph Koloski, Katrina Olstead, and Angela Pickett. Logo designed by Geoffrey Gwynn. Edited by Stan Daniel. Kingdom Casts is copyrighted 2021, all rights reserved.
I got a question.
Sure.
Yeah. Why isn't Godzilla's son named Jesusilla?
Well, that would require an understanding of the intricacies of the Japanese language, Albert. Would it not?
Godzilla, we made up Godzilla. Godzilla's name was Gojira. It wasn't Godzilla. We made that up in America.
Well, that's the translation, is it not?
I don't know. No, probably not. I don't think they translated Gojira as Godzilla. I just think they wanted it to sound more Americanized so they could sell it better.
Jesus' name wasn't Jesus. It was Yeshua.
Well, so God's name ain't really God.
No. It's
Listen, I just want to know why there's not a Jesus-Zilla.
What's wrong with Godzuki?
Is it possible to have a Holy Ghost-Zilla?
Ghost-Zilla.
You're the reason I get strange emails. I can handle all the I hate Stan stuff, but it's these emails that, want to get metaphorical with this crap. I was worried that we weren't going to have anything to put at the after credits, and then he goes and asks about Jesus Zilla.